Dr. Phil McGraw built a fortune-making business. He abruptly quit in 2023. His official reason was to spend more time with family. Instead, insiders discussed something deeper. His wife, Robin, supported him through every scandal and lawsuit. The cameras couldn't fix her conflict. This was beyond the man who always made things better after 47 years of marriage. The actual reason he said farewell may make you cry. On September 1st, 1950, in Veneta, Oklahoma, Dr. Phil was born. His oil field dad, Joe McGraw, sold tools. While working, his mother, Ann Stevens, raised the kids. Just over 5,000 people lived in the small town, which was difficult. The oil industry ran everything. If fields were full, work existed. If not, something was wrong. Phil was raised in a community where everyone worked hard for every dime. His parents followed these guidelines. His mom cleaned the house while his dad worked long hours in the oil fields. They had little but were tough. Phil had the same harsh outlook. Life has never been comfortable. Being there, persevering, and completing tasks. Later, the family moved to North Texas, with rougher oil fields. Phil grew raised there, alongside his sisters Diana, Donna, and Brenda. Their residence was more than a bed. It taught them survival, cooperation, and loyalty. Local oil workers faced daily peril, heavy tools, long shifts, injury, and heat. There was consensus, but nobody spoke up. They stood tall, worked, and assisted. Phil saw all. He witnessed genuine people's strengths, weaknesses, and struggles. Early sights lingered with him. Sisters assisted him. He discovered feelings, patience, and how people fight and connect with each other. It illuminated people's untidy sides before he studied it. By college, Phil's dream shifted. He wants to play football. He tried his hardest to get into Tulsa University. That dream ended quickly. He was too injured to play again. The collision was so serious it ended any chance of going pro. But the details were never reported. Philip had to give up what he considered his identity. His next move was unclear after moving to Midwestern State University. Not just schools changed. Your identity mattered. Sports were no longer his forte. He started over. That shift taught him how to fix problems, which classrooms couldn't. That grief and change of direction shaped his later communication. He experienced getting lost and having to work hard to find your way back. Phil witnessed his father do something unexpected. Joe McGraw took a risk after years in oil. He stopped construction to become a psychologist. He resumed school. He worked hard. He achieved it. Phil witnessed everything. He learned change wasn't easy. Well worth it. That moment changed his perspective. Psychology went beyond book ideas. It could improve a man's life. Seeing his father transform was crucial. He wondered if he might help others, not simply talk about it. After recognizing that, he would go further than expected. Phil earned his psychology degree from Midwestern State University in 1975. He wasn't typical in school. He thought ideas and research proceeded too slowly. He sought real answers to actual problems. He was unsatisfied with treatment instruction. Others were using complex tactics, but Phil wanted results. His method was honest, useful, and heavily influenced by his life. Years of seeing people fight for survival made him dislike sugarcoating. He continued after high school. He resumed education and received a master's and PhD in clinical psychology from the University of North Texas by 1979. He wrote on how psychology could help individuals cope with pain. He studied rheumatoid arthritis and how the mind may aid the sick. That thinking was ahead of its time. After his PhD, Phil joined his father's practice. On paper it made sense, yet something was off. It moved too slowly. It took too long to alter. He raged. He didn't want to wait for improvement. Wake and force folks to move. He left the firm to create Pathways seminars. Ideas weren't it. It was about personalizing life. Moving changed everything. It showed Phil he could reach more individuals. He spoke clearly to large gatherings easily. Everything after this change was built on it. Nothing was about office walls anymore. Get as many people as possible to view it. Phil continued. He studied investigative psychology at Wilmington Institute. The new field had courtrooms, law conflicts, and stress. He studied juries, thinking and changing court outcomes. They strengthened what they knew. Courtroom Sciences, Inc. began with his support in 1989. He advised lawyers on judge selection, shaped cases, and aid witnesses. He employed psychology smartly and strategically. Everyone noticed when he helped Oprah Winfrey win a huge 1996 court dispute. That win wasn't random. It was planned. It also introduced her to Phil, who became famous on TV. However, his personal life had changed significantly before the cameras arrived. He married Debbie Higgins McCall at 20. The pair split. It ended in 1973 after 3 difficult years. Debbie later alleged the relationship was nasty and controlling. Phil denied it, but it ended swiftly and horribly. It was silent for years after the fallout, hidden by his fame. It wasn't part of his existence that fit his subsequent image. He married Robin McGraw again in 1976. That marriage survived. Robin became more than a pal. She joined the brand. She supported him as his career took off, attending his gigs and sharing the stage. Nothing was wrong with their lives. Jay and Jordan were their sons. Robin explained what Phil was like behind the scenes while giving TV tips. People considered them as stable due of their marriage, especially after his first one started poorly. His words gained weight and helped him achieve his goals. He married Texas businesswoman Thelma Box in 1985 after earning his PhD in psychology. Together they founded Pathways Self-Help Group. Therapy rarely works that way. This was fast-paced, hands-on, and aimed to change. Nobody sat around discussing emotions. They did something, faced their worries, and left confident they could start fresh. Lots of people attended workshops. The rooms were full of raw emotions and life-changing discoveries. McGraw led for 6 years. Next, he sold his business share for $325,000 in 1991. This proved he wasn't merely a psychologist. He was a logical professional. Pathways remains a nonprofit. It began with McGraw's daring entry into self-help. Later in 1990, he launched something grander. CSI was founded with trial lawyer Gary Dobbs. Therapy was over. It involved courtroom fights. McGraw brought psychology to law, changing everything. He trained lawyers to read juries like novels. Moot courts and study groups were his tools. He staged full-scale mock court proceedings with fake juries and judges. Everything was examined. Voice, body language, and expressions. Errors were unacceptable. CSI taught lawyers what worked and what didn't, and how to influence decision makers. It worked so well that celebrities and huge companies called. People trusted CSI more than any other trial tactic name. McGraw ran everything behind the scenes. One of his best tools was the fake trial. Lawyers practiced in rented dwellings or studio-style courtrooms. McGraw's team was always present. They filmed responses, keep notes, and run info. They would then explain their mistake and how to correct it to the lawyers, how to say and not say things to change the room. McGraw taught lawyers how to enter a jury's subconscious using his knowledge of human behavior. Teaching them made them feel connected or planted doubts. Some called it psychological warfare. Some thought it was clever. It worked both ways. It permanently altered case setup. This notoriety was heavily publicized in 1994 during one of the largest environmental cases. The Exxon Valdez spill damaged the Alaskan beach and prompted a court fight with over 32,000 irate claimants. He was brought in to lead defense. It was a mess. Exxon hating and angry. They were powerful though. He helped shape the story, coach witnesses, and advise lawyers. After challenges, the $5 billion fine was significantly reduced. The entire process cost Exxon approximately $1.5 billion. Still large but doable. McGraw rose after that case as a lawyer consultant. Then Oprah arrived. In 1995, Oprah Winfrey was sued, which could have ended her career. Texas cattlemen who sued her for millions stated she opposed meat on her show. McGraw and CSI were contacted by her lawyers. His approach was aggressive and planned. He reportedly advised Oprah not to settle. That advice fixed things. McGraw and his colleagues prepared juror profiles and witnesses for 18 months. The jury was mostly linked to the cattle industry in Amarillo, Texas, where the case was tried. However, Oprah triumphed in 1998 and credited McGraw. That trial transformed her legal luck and his life. The case led Oprah to invite him on her show. Once a guest, everyone adored him. He wasn't nice or gentle. He was direct, confident, and frank. People noticed. Things were recorded. They revisited. Soon, Oprah featured him weekly. Tuesdays with Dr. Phil was a Dr. Phil highlight. It garnered attention. Just for him, everybody watched. Hearing his advice hurts. got trapped. His advice was unwelcome, yet people listened. Honesty became his trademark. Despite the limelight, McGraw never forgot his roots in court. Even as his TV career took soared, he continued courtroom studies. He gained more than fame from Oprah. His reach was enabled. He had a national brand, sold many books, and filled his workshops. His face was everywhere. He worked behind the scenes to make CSI a hit and advise on large cases. Unfair for the masterclass. A media sensation and a law strategist face up. By 2002, the next step was obvious. He needs his own show. Harpo Studios, owned by Oprah, signed the contract. Dr. Phil wasn't just another talk show when it debuted in September 2002. It was loud, forceful, and direct. Phil McGraw entered the stage with a purpose. He avoided small chat. He went to cope with pain, broken lives, and mayhem. Some didn't watch the show. They knew. He implored them to get real. And millions at home agreed. Unfinished stories were given. They had actual feelings, on-air solutions, and silence. Money followed in the background. Phil obtained a $15 million a year deal to appear on other shows in 2008. It kept him there until 2014. Oprah and Ellen were among the few generating that much money. More than a TV show. It was kingdom. Repeats occurred throughout networks. Specials air at prime time. People couldn't avoid Dr. Phil, and it paid off. He earned almost $65 million by 2020. Forbes ranked him 22nd on their 100 most famous list. The show was still popular, forging international deals and revolutionizing afternoon TV. It wasn't simply money. The show had 31 Emmy nominations. Even if it lost, it showed business people were paying notice. It received 5 Prism Awards for being honest about addiction. The show tackled harsh issues like drug misuse and drunk driving. Experts, recovering users, and families were involved. They were truthful. Nothing was lied about. Stories sometimes inspired real-life events. They sometimes ended in tears, and people reacted. Many people called helplines after certain events. More people wanted recovery programs. Watching Dr. Phil became more than entertaining. It also inspired action. Phil's name alone got famous. He ranked 30 on Forbes' 2007 Celebrity 100. He earned from more than the show. He lectured, published bestsellers, and sold. His latest shows include Daily Mail TV and The Doctors. Spin-offs received honors too. He was more than a host by the late 2010s. He directed and was a TV powerhouse. But the kingdom had a terrible side. Bill let his psychology license expire in 2006. He no longer required it. He neglected others. No school was run by him. Still, he discussed mental health daily on TV. He taught pain, drug, parenting, and mental health management. That was too much for some. One 2008 event was notable. Britney Spears cried in public. A psychiatrist halted it. Dr. Phil visited her in the hospital. He claimed to be a friend but then spoke publicly. Her family was furious. His supervisor said he betrayed them. Phil later admitted it wasn't helpful, but too late. There were more events. Survivor 2013 winner Todd Herzog discussed his drinking problem. But things went wrong. After the fact, Herzog maintained he arrived sober. Someone had vodka in the locker room, he said. He drank. To calm him, someone offered him Xanax. He was very different on stage. He needed to be carried out. Phil examined his breath live on TV. Blood alcohol was 263, more than 3 times the driving limit. Father approved of the tale. Previous guests did the same. Despite problems, the show left them alone for hours. Staff reportedly helped them find drugstores. The show claimed it was all false, but the stories kept coming. Another Shelley Duvall event occurred in 2016. We hadn't seen her in years. Mental illness was evident in The Shining and Popeye star. She spoke odd and alarming things on video. She revealed secret parts of her body and said Robin Williams was alive but wearing a mask. Phil heard her illness was serious. Her words were, "Help me." But questions persisted. People watched with terror. It was denounced by celebrities and activists. They called it cruel. They said it was excessive. Duvall later regretted the show. Her mother and partner said she was lied to. When Dr. Phil died in 2024, That talk was still one of her most criticized. This continued. Danielle Bregoli, 13, appeared on the show in 2016. Her story went viral. She shouted, "Cash me outside. How about that?" This statement is legendary. She became a joke overnight. However, some claim she was used. Turnabout Ranch, a wilderness program, took her. Later, she and others called it harsh. Much talk about forced labor, abuse, neglect, or sexual assault. Danielle said she returned worse. She supported other victims who spoke out. The show never fully discussed the impact. People had more significant issues regarding young guest treatment. Behind the scenes, other stories emerged. Former employees spoke out. Kaden Mahafa, a woman, claimed she was lied to for the show, concluded with a nervous collapse. She claimed she was deceived and frightened. Leah Rothman, another worker, stated staff were locked in rooms and threatened over leaks. Helping people was never the point. Scores always mattered. She believed visitors' lives were lost. One attempted suicide. Addicts were reportedly kept alone in hotel rooms for days before the film. At that period, some found narcotics, and again the show maintained they'd done nothing wrong. However, each tale strengthened criticism. Dr. Phil and son Jay McGraw did something unusual in 2017. The name was Path to Recovery, a VR show for drug recovery centers. It cost a lot. Some places paid $7,000 monthly. It's over $84,000 annually. What was promised? Much better results. Get more folks, new advantage in a competitive field. That experience captivated you. Dr. Phil showed patients false difficult scenarios and helped them cope, but it felt wrong. Business people wondered what they were paying for. We have no proof it worked. The presentation even noted that it wasn't meant to treat or heal. Only huge facilities could pay that much. Little ones were excluded. The sales pitch improved behind the scenes. Jim Schreiner, program sales manager, made huge boasts. He reportedly informed centers that doctors and Dr. Phil guests would use them for information. It went beyond assisting. It involved visibility. Schreiner advocated for national TV coverage of paid places. He reportedly said, "Our job is to make your phones ring." That inspires further questions. Therapy, or another way to get money that looked like therapy. Some assumed it was pay to play. Without your buy-in, your patients and name won't be suggested. Whoever paid got fame, but not always outcomes. Schreiner never responded to press inquiries regarding his pitch. Things looked bad when they came out. The Dr. Phil brand was already at risk. Eventually, his show became a show. When guests became worse, they became unstable. When they arrived, several had serious mental illness. Others dealt drugs. The tales were captivating. A girl who hated black. A woman believed Tyler Perry was her spouse. Mom pushing daughter to get face surgery. People watched, high scores persisted. But the guests paid a lot. The show's creators sought the most broken people behind the scenes. Staff reported being advised to expect tragedy, suffering, and turmoil. Others said guests' prescriptions were taken before the filming. They were supposed to look wild on camera. Hollywood icon Shelley Duvall appeared while she was weak. People noticed her and were angry. Many thought it went too far, yet the show continued. After 21 seasons and 3,500 performances, it ended in 2023. Dr. Phil announced his afternoon TV departure. There was no cancellation notice. His choice, he said, helping the American family was his top priority. May saw the last show. CBS aired old shows with new intros. But the trip ended. The show wouldn't lose Dr. Phil. Switching gears. There were plans for additional shows, deals, and digital products. He moved on, but old questions persisted. Dr. Phil hasn't been licensed to practice psychology since 2006. He only had a Texas license. He opted to quit up. He never needed one in California. People enjoyed his show, not treatment. He appeared on national TV as an expert, without breaking any professional regulations because of the loophole. However, many called it dishonest. But the Troyster, he publicly discussed Britney Spears' mental health after seeing her in the hospital in 2008. A written report resulted. People wondered how he worked without paperwork. Mental health professionals called him a fraud. In their contracts, show participants were informed they were seeing a TV personality, not therapy. Millions continued to watch. It grows scarier as you investigate. In 2017, it was alleged that recovering alcoholic Todd Herzog was offered alcohol before the concert. He appeared inebriated. Some guests complained they were promised assistance but never received it. According to some, follow-up care ended after the cameras stopped running. The team struggled. A 2022 study identified a risky workplace. Race, threat, manipulation, and verbal abuse were reported by staff. A former employee said they were advised to make sure guests didn't take their prescription before shooting. Numerous people sued. Shape Up, Dr. Phil's 2003 weight loss tool, caused FTC charges. The class action settled for $10.5 million. All of this made the business seem conflict-based rather than kind. Robin McGraw, his wife, never changed her mind. She supported him through every scandal and lawsuit. She appeared on the show. She went out with him. She was brand-related. They fought back when tabloids claimed Phil assaulted her or suggested a split. They sued the National Enquirer for $250 million in 2016. Both personally and professionally, they stayed together. Many believe that dedication saved the Dr. Phil brand. Phil seeks larger venues and people. Family values and reviving the nation are his topics. CBS primetime shows await him, but the past is close. After the discussion program, news keeps trickling in. Guest manipulation, addiction, license issues, lawsuits, and staff abuse. All stays with you.